President Granger hands over ambulance to Port Kaituma as government outreach is held in Region 1. Hello, welcome to InfoHub. It's Friday, September 20. We have lots to tell you today. His Excellency, President David Granger, has delivered a state-of-the-art ambulance to Port Kaituma. This was done at the most recent Government Comes to You outreach, which got underway in the Barima-Waini community.
History was created at Port Kaituma as President David Granger and Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, along with senior government ministers, visited and delivered an ambulance and 2 boats and engine to improve the health and education sectors within the Matakai sub-district. At the commissioning ceremony at the community ground, President David Granger spoke of the importance of having a healthy nation.
Public health is very important to all of us. And let me say this, that we will continue to develop the public health services in this region, this vast region. We have to have a public health plan which ensures that our citizens are safe from communicable diseases like those I mentioned, and also safe from non-communicable diseases.
Minister of Public Health Valdo Lawrence said that the initiative is part of the government's effort to bridge the gap between the hinterland and the coastland.
Access to good health in Georgetown, there must be access to good health in Port Kaituma and in every part of our country.
The ambulance was donated by International Imports and Supply Limited as part of their corporate social responsibilities. It will serve areas including 4 Miles, Orinoco and Pittsburgh around the Port Kaituma area. Continued with ministers and officials from the various government agencies listening to the issues and concerns of the residents. With videographer Kwesi Wishart, I am Sinika Thorne for InfoHub.
The Ministry of the Presidency has noted the hooliganism and thuggery displayed by the opposition People's Progressive Party, its supporters and associates on September 19th, both outside and inside the Hotel Pegasus, where His Excellency President David Granger was the guest speaker at the annual Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association's business luncheon. In a release today, the ministry noted that the lawlessness exhibited was a display of gross disrespect for the President, his office, the government, and the occasion that was being held at the time. The release also stated that it is a worrying sign when a presidential candidate and a former president who is a constitutional office holder seek to incite violence against the sitting head of state and ministers of the government during the execution of their official duties. Their undemocratic behavior and its continuous threats to peace and stability has no place in this society and will not be tolerated, the release added. The President assures all Guyanese that lawful measures will be taken to guarantee the safety of ministers of government and to prevent a breakdown of law and order in the country, and he remains committed to holding credible elections in the earliest possible time. The government signed the Memorandum of Understanding at UN House for continued strengthening of partnership between the country and UN agencies, its funds and programs. The signing took place earlier on Friday at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Guyana is fortunate to be one of the 4 CARICOM countries of the Caribbean in which a UNDP country office is located. We will ensure that the United Nations in Guyana is adequately equipped to carry out its work and to even grow and expand its presence while enhancing its efficiency.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Dr. Karen Cummins, speaking before the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement on UN House. Through this partnership of a UN House, the Ghana government provided a common space for the UN country team to work closely together, and this, in turn, will foster even faster response to national priorities. Relocation began in May this year, and according to local UNDP officer in charge Navindra Prasad, agencies are progressively moving into their new space.
We would like to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the finalization of this Memorandum of Agreement. The country team is grateful to the government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana for the provision of the premises. Our thanks also extend to the National Assembly for its role in the budgetary allocation under the Ministry of Public Infrastructure to cater for the lease or the rental of this as part of the national budget that was approved on 15th of December 2018.
In the meantime, Minister Cummins noted that in the foreseeable future, the UNDP will remain a reliable partner to assist Ghana in its efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and the country's Green State Development Strategy, Vision 2040.
The signing of the Memorandum of Agreement today puts our words to actions to deed. Member states like ours have been fully involved in the design of the new system and the restructuring of the resident coordinator and UN country team systems in order to better meet the specific needs of CARICOM member states.
Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
Whilst Ghana remains at a Tier 1 status in the Trafficking in Persons United States report, the government remains resolute in the fight to eradicate the social scourge through the judiciary.
Known the world over as modern-day slavery, trafficking in persons continues to destroy the lives of many unsuspecting victims. And while there are systems in place to mitigate the incidents, Guyana, through the Ministry of Social Security, has taken a very punitive stance to ultimately bring the scourge to an all-time low. Today, the Supreme Court of the Judicature and the Justice Education Institute of Guyana convened a judicial conference on TIP, targeting legal officers. Minister of Public Security, the Honorable Kemraj Ramjatan, who also heads the task force on trafficking in persons, said TIP in Guyana has been reaping tremendous profit. The judiciary, he said, is critical in the fight.
In Guyana here, more and more we see, and I have some information that tells me of the hot spots, and we have to try as best as possible to cut the profit out of the trade by ensuring that these hot spots are surveilled properly, but also when cases are brought against them, that our officers in the police force are going to ensure that the best of evidence is culled so that indeed the presentations can be made to the judges and the magistrates.
In 2017, the TIP unit investigated 14 cases, including 50 alleged victims. Of the 50 victims, 21 were under the age of 18, with 52 suspects. The following year, the unit had cause to investigate 32 cases, with 245 alleged victims, 11 of which were under 18 years, with 57 suspects. Between January to June of this year, there have been 18 suspected cases, with 132 alleged victims. 115 of that amount are below the age of 30. The minister said the influx of immigrants, particularly from neighboring Venezuela, has become a primary purpose of trafficking. Acting Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Janet Cummings Edwards, told the legal officers that every tool is available to fight TIP. She presented an overview of the local legislation. The legislation, she said, seeks to reduce all instances of the social malady.
It is intended to facilitate international cooperation in investigation and prosecution of trafficking in persons cases, and it is also intended to protect and assist victims of trafficking in persons with full respect for their rights under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
Still to come, new sexual reproductive health policy for St. Cuthbert's Mission and $70 million taxiway commissioned at the Ogle Airport. Details of these and more after the break.
Are you ready to embark on a truly epic adventure to an undiscovered corner of South America, where some of the most spectacular natural attractions are unveiled within a beautifully diverse landscape? From the wetlands and savannas to the ancient mountains, magnificent waterways and lush enriching rainforest would provide a vast playground for some of the most exotic and breathtaking creatures on the planet, including many of the world's giant species. This untouched land of mystery and wonder serves up an exclusive experience for travelers. So are you ready for a new, awe-inspiring adventure? Welcome back to nature. Welcome to Guyana.
Thanks for staying with us. The sexual reproductive well-being of close to 13,000 residents living at St. Cuthbert's Mission, also known as Pukuri, is now boosted following the implementation of a national sexual reproductive health policy.
The comprehensive document is a joint initiative by the Ministry of Public Health and the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA. It will assist in ensuring that issues which affect reproductive health of the population, specifically women, are dealt with professionally. It also addresses matters such as age of consent for intercourse, child marriages, forced marriages, and underage sexual activities, among other issues.
This policy that we are launching here today is designed to be used by policymakers. It is designed to be used by program managers and planners. And what they are going to use it for? They're going to use it so that in their preparation for all the programs that we would want to roll out, this policy will give them directions. It will also help them in the decision makings and speak to the type of interventions that they can make that will better position sexual and reproductive health within the ambit of primary health care.
The government, through the Public Health Ministry, endorsed the UN's human rights philosophy, which stipulates that all individuals are entitled to access the highest standard of health care, irrespective of race, sex, nationality, or ethnicity. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdeo Prasad explained that the initial stage of the policy commenced with consultations with several target groups.
The focus, as I indicated, was on some of the existing policy and to look at how those were working. Were they of benefit to people? In the initial stages, we focused a lot on target groups like pregnant women, and at that time UNFPA had also started to work on the reintegration program, which I think now has become mainstream.
The document provides the way for implementation of a complete package of sexual and reproductive health measures, including education and health promotion. Also attending the short ceremony were Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Honorable Cindy Alicock, UNFPA Liaison Officer Adla Baino, RDC officials, and to show off the St. Cuthbert's Mission. For Info Hub, Delicia Haynes.
Following 5 months of construction works, the Eugene F. Correa International Airport at Ogle commissioned a new $70 million taxiway on Thursday.
Measuring 200 meters in length by 15 meters width, runway Foxtrot will bear pavement classification number 16RBXT and will accommodate Liat's ATR-72 aircraft, the largest aircraft that operates at the airport. Ogle Airport Incorporated's PR consultant, Kit Nascimento, speaking on behalf of the airport's CEO, Anthony McDessie, said since the airport had a single runway system that did not have a taxiway for helicopters, the decision was taken to construct the new taxiway.
The airport operates a single runway system, so the new taxiway will vastly improve efficiency and economy of the aircraft operations when taxiing to and from the runway, and will greatly reduce runway occupancy time. It will also improve the safety of fixed-wing aircraft and helicopter operations.
In his remarks, Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, the Honorable Jai Paul Sharma, commended the efforts of the operators that have begun construction of helicopter aprons to facilitate services at the airport since the new taxiway is completed.
The initiative of Ogle Airport Inc. and the management, the decision of the board members to having this taxiway here today to aid in the many complaints that would be upon the board in relation to the length of time the operators would have to take to access the runway. This that you're looking at here today is local content at its best. This is the sector that I could say that anyone and everyone could see what local content is.
The GCAA head Colonel Edward Field welcomed the taxiway's construction since it will not only alleviate traffic congestion at the airport that mostly occurs within the morning hours, but will also assist Guyana as its aviation sector continues to grow. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Before we close, here's a reminder to check our Facebook and Instagram pages for a special report on the government outreach in Port Kaituma. That's all for today. Connect with us on WhatsApp, Facebook, and YouTube. Much more news is on our website, dpi.gov.gy, and pop over to Instagram for the latest photo updates at DPI Guyana. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.